6 p.m. We'll call the Tuesday, July 15, 2025 Seabrook City Council meeting to order. At this time, if you'll rise, before we do the pledge, I'd like everyone to take a moment of silence to remember Lakeview police officer Larry Blacksmith, who lost his life today in a tragic accident, not on the job. Thank you. Now we'll do the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. Public comments and announcements. At this time, we would like to we'd like to listen to any member of the audience on any subject matter, whether or not that item is on the agenda. All comments are limited to a maximum of 4 minutes for each speaker, shall be limited to city business or city-related business or matters of general public interest, and shall not include any personal attacks or abusive language. All public remarks shall be addressed to the chair. Comments shall not be directed toward individual council members, city staff, or other members of the public. In accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, members may not discuss or take action on any item that has not been posted on the agenda. When your name is called, please come to the podium and state your name and address clearly into the microphone before making your comments. Thank you. First on the list, Paul Robinson. Paul, just make sure that microphone's on, please.
Yes. Green light's on, is that correct? Now we got it. My name is Paul Robinson from Dickinson, Texas. I produce the city-sponsored Texas Outlaw Challenge event. This was our 18th year, 18 years, imagine. And I just wanted to have a couple of minutes here to relay some of the event highlights this year. There was a Zoom meeting of people that get hot tax. I didn't get invited to the Zoom meeting because my event hadn't happened yet. So I think some groups need a little more information on the event right now. So heads and beds is what is funding the hot tax. Very important that we produce heads and beds. I had 100 plus, about 125 boat teams, 1,500 participants this year. So I know they all stayed in hotels because they didn't stay at my house. However, I do not have data that shows where they stayed, which is part of the requirement. However, I know they did. I had a promo code at one of the hoteliers who I visited the other day. He said he had some rooms. I knew I had sent more people to him than was recorded, so there's kind of the accuracy of that program. We try our best. But I told him some of these details that he wasn't aware of the event. So here we go. So 2025 total dollars local commerce revenue that's spent in the area from our guests this year was around $750,000. That's hotels, rooms, restaurants, fuel, so on and so forth, rentals, things like that. Total event cost was around $267,000, and quite a few activities in Seabrook. Some of them that this person wasn't aware of, and they're right on NASA 1 there. So we spend thousands of dollars at Villa Capri. We have all our pre-meetings there for our volunteers, our safety group, and our registration team. We spend thousands at the Lakewood Yacht Club. They are the host location for our Friday morning shootout. Speaking of the shootout, it is right off the shores of Seabrook. We had great participation in spectators this year who come from out of town to see this spectacle. They were lined up at Marine Max and the barge and Cabo and all the way down the shore. And if you can imagine, we had just close to 200 boats anchored in Clear Lake watching this event from Friday 10 till noon. Imagine that. Imagine that many boats. And where those people spent the money for the rest of the day and maybe spent the weekend. Cabo's one of our host poker run stops on Saturday. We feature all 7 hotels in Seabrook on our website. The charities this year involved Home, helping our military endure. This group is a local group that sends packages to our enlisted men and women overseas. Really nice mom and pop organization that we help out. And also the Galveston County Families Living with Down Syndrome. We supported them this year as well. Special mention, although a little off topic, but I think it's important and we're very proud of it. We had a volunteer who'd worked with us for many years with Outlaw Challenge volunteer group, and he passed away. And he left his granddaughter, a single parent situation, a little 4-year-old Allie, 4 years ago. And we vowed that within our group we would provide a education trust fund for this little girl. And we capped that program this year at $50,000 we raised just to fund that little lady. She's from Seabrook in the Lake Cove Harbor area, and we're really proud that we did that for that family. This is a report, this is the big report of all the data. Ex-NASA retired contractor, so I like my metrics, but I condensed it down, boiled it down to this. A couple things worth mentioning here because...
Your time is up in just about 8 seconds, but I'll give you another 30 if you can wrap it up.
Okay. Promotional outreach to attract tourism in the area. 1,700,000 digital reaches, views, likes, circulation hits. Radio, 480,000. Television, 450,000. Advertiser sponsorship, direct mailers, 327,000. Personal reach extensions, 36,000. Personal interaction at shows and invites, and so on and so forth. A total of over 7 million contacts through our website and through our advertising and marketing efforts that brought Seabrook to the front as the host city.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much. And a little thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
But it will hurt your toe.
You promise. We'll take a picture later.
Thank you.
Okay, it's something new that I totally forgot to. Please, and I didn't want to interrupt our speaker. All public remarks should be addressed to the chair. Comments should not be directed toward individual council members, city staff, or any members of the public. If the speakers coming up would keep that in mind, please. Josh Perella, you are next.
Josh Perella, 650 North Flamingo Drive. The reason I'm speaking today is, there was a lot of hoopla over this last election, and I've had some great conversations with City Council, the newer members on here and some of the old ones. So my comments are not directed at you guys, other than to hopefully by addressing and putting this in public.
Sorry, if you comment to the chair, please.
To the chair?
All comments directed to the chair. Yes, sir.
To you.
Well,
Okay.
I'm the chair today, so yes.
Okay. And so can I reclaim some of my time? Okay.
Continue.
So anyways, I wanted to bring up a couple things, some coincidental, but some factual based on some information that I've received that kind of makes me want to present it. And I'm more than willing to give you guys the copies of this stuff. There is some deeper investigations going on, as some know. Who knows what will come out of that? But I really wanted to focus on the things that were a little bit more concrete. There was a study. There was a lot of FOIA requests done, and one of the things that came out of those FOIA requests was a report over our previous election. Best case is that we have some severe issues with how we run our elections. Granted, we're transferring and changing that next year, but I would highly, highly request that we do a third-party investigation on this based on what I'm about to run through quickly and then give you the full copy of. Some of the key findings off those FOIA requests were surveillance video confirms 5 distinct individuals entering and exiting the vault during the investigation window. However, door activity logs report only Amanda Morales accessing the vault during that time. This suggests potential badge sharing, tailgating, or deliberate log tampering. Election judge credential misuse. The credential labeled election judge number 2 was used to enter the jury room at 8:21 p.m. This badge is not linked to any real individual, which represents a critical accountability breach. Amanda Morales, Civic Plus activity. Morales accessed the vault 3 times and simultaneously made changes in the Civic Plan system. Object logs show alterations to vote-related data consistent with administrative level functions. Additional individual access issues. Rachel Lewis accessed the jury room twice. Her entry closely followed the use of the election judge badge. Amanda Alvarado had an active terminal session for nearly an hour with Civic Plus access and browsing activity. Michelle I'm sorry if I slaughtered her name, Barnabo, accessed the building with an unassigned credential, number 66, and attempted to enter court admin and denied. Preliminary conclusion. The available evidence suggests that standard access control procedures were bypassed or manipulated. Activity patterns, video evidence, and system logs raise serious concerns about the integrity of vote-related system access on the night of May 3rd, 2025. While additional confirmation and validation are required, the indicators support the possibility of intentional and coordinated misconduct. Recommended immediate actions, I'll leave that to you guys. What I'll close with is, that's facts based on FOIA. What I would say is, I think we can do better. I think there's some serious issues here, and to clear the air for this city, knowing that we audit our city on a very basic level. We've done this for 15 years with basically the same company. The company just buys out the company. So that's an issue. Our voting that we've had now, I'm giving you factual data that shows that we've had some security lapses. I think.
Okay, Josh, time's up.
Okay.
Thank you. Joe McCall.
Joe McCall, Seabrook, Texas. I've lived here for 58 years. I noticed that the flags were not put back.
To the chair, please.
Okay. I noticed that the flags were not put back, and so I sure wish they will get back. So notice that. So the fire station has, I found out, has mold, and the HVAC system is the one that's, how do you say, is the problem. That money should come out of the general maintenance funds, not this bond to build a outbuilding. But the biggest thing is the accountability there. Why is there no accountability for this going on for year after year? That's the problem. People have a big problem with that. The fire station should be one of the gems of a city, and you only have 3 buildings that we own. This one, Public Works, and the fire station. And the fire station has mold in it. I don't think anybody should really be in there if the mold is as bad as what I hear. But this city seems to be more worried about who told me than trying to get it fixed. And I have a big problem with that. Number 2, the Carruthers fence. You guys voted not to move it. Well, that was wrong. First off, we actually voted as a council to move it. It was approved. Now you come, and it didn't get done, but then you come back and say no. I don't think that's actually right or legal. I'll look into that even more. But it needs to be moved back because the people are losing.
No, this way, please.
But I have to read my notes.
Yeah, but you're looking over there.
First Amendment. So anyway, that fence needs to be moved. The people are losing a ton of land, and that's not right. Okay. The council already voted on the hot tax committee too, so this is my third point. The last council voted on the hot tax committee. I'm hearing that they might want to abolish it. So I guess you have that right, but this is why we voted on it, so people could to get things done the correct way. Obviously, giving hot tax to Celebration Seabrook was wrong, and everybody knew that. Now it got fixed. So there's one thing. Farmers Market, that has been a big hit so far, and someone in this city didn't want it, yet it's been a big hit. So it's just one of those things. We keep going back to these type of things. So the Farmers Market ended up being a big hit. People really like it, yet there's someone here that didn't want it. And the last part, my number 5, is the budget. If you want something put in the budget for this coming year, you have to put it in there. The city manager is going to have her stuff for the maintenance and, just the, day-to-day stuff. But if you need something or want something, you have to put it in. So don't listen to this 40,000 foot thing. You got to put it in. You got to be aggressive and do it. I learned that lesson. And then the last one is the last meeting, FOIAs were talked about almost like a negative. And I had a huge problem with that. Part of the city is being open and transparent. That's why they have the FOIA. So if someone asks for information, they should just get it. It shouldn't be an argument. It shouldn't be brought up like, how dare I have to do it, or how many I had to do. That's what it is. And I know a lot of cities actually do this. They actually have a lot of information already out there, so then you don't have to FOIA, like salaries and just a lot of other basic stuff. So thanks.
Thank you, Joe. Kylie Wilson.
I'm a lot shorter, so let me go this way so I can see you. Kylie Wilson, 2602 Loganberry Circle. I was not able to be at the July 1st meeting with regards to some discussion on hotel motel, so I actually wanted to answer some of the questions that were asked that day. The origination of the the agenda item with regards to hot tax involving the duties of the committee, but also conflict of interest, actually were intended to be a clarification. The HOT committee in years past actually reviewed and approved not just applications, but it was also all city-funded options. So we had asked the question of city staff, after doing sponsorship applications, are we not to do all city-funded? And the Celebration Seabrook is actually what came up in that discussion. We intended to vet it exactly the same way that we've done all of our sponsorship applications, because we have a standard that we do it in criteria, and we were told no, that we were not to vet it as such. The other question was asked, and it was mentioned in the July 1st meeting that we wanted more authority. That is not correct. We did not want more authority. We wanted clarification of how the committee was utilized previously to where it was now. The other thing that came up is asking why were we even chosen? Were we researched as committee members? I have 30 years of public sector experience, 20 of those being in Parks and Recreation doing big events, and 14 of those managing a hot fund. So when I applied and I was accepted into that, I thought I was qualified to do that. Not really sure why that even came up, but I'll be honest with you, it kind of offended me because members of council are still here who approved us, and to be questioned about our ability to be on that committee is offensive. Also, the question of why were we not being transparent? We wanted the committee to be transparent. Previously, the hot fund sponsorships were actually approved and reviewed by 2 members of council and city staff. So when the establishment of that committee came back around, I said, I can give back. I have this experience. We could be a part of that to be transparent. That's why the comment came up about Celebration Seabrook, because we wanted it to be transparent for all hot fund usage. The other question was involving conflict of interest. And 2 days after the meeting that I asked about Celebration Seabrook, we get an email as a committee about conflict of interest. That was on the 19th or 20th of June. We started having our first meeting in February. We've had 5 meetings since then. The very first meeting, we talked about the handbook with conflict of interest in there. The only thing we had asked in that meeting is getting a clarification on the word affiliated, because many of us volunteer, participate, or are part of events, so we asked about the word affiliated only. That's what it came up to. But that discussion turned every which way of who was involved, because it was intended to be if you're on the board, if you receive financial funding, you're a founder, etc. When I read the agenda for this time around, I'll be honest with you, I was really bothered the fact that 2 of the council members that were part of approving myself, the other citizen and the hoteliers, put forth the agenda item of removal or appointment of council or committee members. I'm not sure why. The other part of that is the conflict of interest resolution changed to now include the word fundraising. I don't fundraise when I volunteer, but when I'm volunteering, if I'm sitting there and I'm giving out door prize tickets, or I'm selling raffle tickets, or I'm doing live auction, is that fundraising? So those are some things that concern me being member of this committee because I'm a citizen. I want to give back. I want to be a part of all of these committees. And it concerns me that we didn't even know that these items were on the agenda and they impact our involvement on these committees. So if there was a problem, it would have just been nice that somebody asked us what happened, what we've done to be a part of this, why we, if there's a concern, address it. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Kelly Stewart. Kelly, this is not your presentation. This is another, yeah. No.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Stewart, and I'm going to preface this by saying that I'm going to be very blunt. I know there has been a great deal of maneuvering behind the scenes, vague concerns, shifting narratives, and conveniently timed agenda items to reconsider Hot Funds Committee appointments. The timing speaks for itself. I stepped into this role because I want to serve the city that I love so much and have called home for several years. When I was accepted to be a part of the Hot Funds Advisory Board, I saw it as a responsibility, not a title. I took the assignment seriously, and I committed myself fully to doing the job with integrity. That means asking questions. It means paying attention to process, to numbers, and how public funds are managed, especially when those funds directly support Seabrook's businesses and tourism economy. When our committee began reviewing the $45,000 already earmarked for Celebration Seabrook, we were told that it had already been approved by council. That was inaccurate. I have followed council meetings closely, and I knew that vote had not taken place. When it eventually was brought to council, the funding was rejected. What followed was a misleading narrative, a claim that the event had been canceled, as if the committee's questions were somehow to blame. That is not transparency. That is just deflection. And now, on the very night that I am scheduled to present our Hot Funds recommendations, the city is considering removing committee members. That is not coincidence. I will not speculate on motives. I will simply say that the public deserves to understand what is really happening. But more than anything, I want to speak directly to the Hot Funds applicants, the businesses, nonprofits, and event organizers who make Seabrook thrive. You are the reason these funds exist. You are not the problem. I have always stood for a fair and honest process that ensures these funds are distributed responsibly, without favoritism or spin. We should not lose sight of this. I have not, and I never will. I will be delivering our committee's recommendations as scheduled. And if my service ends tonight, it will not be because I failed to do the job. It will be because I did it too well for some people's comfort. I did not accept this position to stay quiet or to be another rubber stamp. I accepted it to make a difference, and I will continue to serve the city with or without a seat at the table. Because this was never about a position. It is about principle. You can remove me from the committee, but I'll still be right here, asking questions, holding the line, and always standing up for the people of Seabrook. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. List here. Item 1.1, Mayor, City Council, and/or members of city staff may make announcements about city or community events. Tyler is on excused absence, so Councilmember Sanford will. Yes, thank you.
I almost forgot I was doing that, sorry. Okay, we have movie night at Meter Park. Moana 2 is going to be playing, so that's Saturday, July 19th at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Rex L. Meter Park. Next, we have First Responders Day, Wednesday, August 6th, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Evelyn Meter Branch Library. And then lastly, we have another movie night at Meter Park, a Minecraft movie, Saturday, August 9th, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at Rex L. Meter Park.
Thank you. The grandsons will be there, I'm sure. Item 2, presentations. Item 2.1 here, presentation from the Hotel Occupancy Tax Hot Advisory Board regarding the fiscal year 2025-2026 event funding requests. And Kelly, back to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's go to the next, there we go. What is hot? Under the Texas tax code, Seabrook may collect up to 7% of the paid price of a hotel room. This includes bed and breakfast businesses, short-term rentals, The city must report these taxes and separate the revenue and expenditures from the general fund. These funds are regulated and may only be used for qualifying expenditures. 1, every expenditure must directly enhance and promote tourism and the convention hotel industry. Every expenditure must clearly fit into one of 9 statutorily provided categories. Okay. These are the 9 categories. Did council have any questions about these? No? Okay. Okay, these are the applicants for the HOT sponsorship funding. We have Bay Area Houston Ballet and Theater, Keels and Wheels, Seabrook Lucky Trails, Seabrook Saltwater Derby, Texas Outlaw Challenge, the 2nd Annual Fall Fest at Barge 295, and Yachty Gras. Okay, this is the funding request and what the board has recommended. Is there any questions about this?
Are you going to go over the individual pages too?
If you'd like me to, I will, yeah.
Would everyone like that? Yes, please. And then there may be questions on those pages.
Okay, great. Okay, first up, we have the Bay Area Houston Ballet. It's its 50th annual season. The funds requested were $6,000, which is $3,000 more from last year. The committee is recommending the full amount requested, and this is from the Texas Tax Code 35. Any questions? No? Okay, next. Okay, Keels and Wheels. Funds requested are $50,000, which is $12,500 more from fiscal year 24-25. The recommended funds are going to be the full $50,000 amount. And this is from the same Texas Tax Code 35. Is there any questions?
That gets us back to where we were funded a couple of years ago. Is that correct? Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
previous, yes. Okay, next we have Seabrook Lucky Trails. They're requesting the same amount from last year, which is $35,000. The committee recommends the full amount requested. Same tax code. Any question? Nope, okay. Seabrook Saltwater Derby, funds requested are $10,000, the same amount from last year. And we are recommending the full amount for $10,000. This is a multi-day event, and it is the same tax code. Any question? No? Okay. Next, we have Texas Outlaw Challenge. The funds requested are $30,000, which was the same from last year. The committee is recommending $10,000, $20,000 less from last year. Same Texas tax code. Is there any questions?
Was there a reason for that?
Yes, there were no main events held in Seabrook, which we're hoping will change. But we were giving the most amount of any single city on this list, and we had no events like the other cities had in this area. And I'm not sure where these rooms are coming from. I know they book rooms, but the committee members who are hoteliers in Seabrook said they didn't see much of a change.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for your work, and
Yes.
thanks for the committee for all of that they've done. It's a lot of work to get all this done, a lot of stuff to go through.
I'm gonna stand aside, 'cause the screen's big. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry?
I couldn't see you over the screen.
I'm concerned a little bit about what we might be able to recommend to the future applications to track hotel stays. That's been an issue for years. Have y'all discussed how we might be able to fix that problem?
Yes, we have. There are several programs that people are using now, and that's something that we have talked about extensively. There are different programs they may use. Also, speaking with a couple of the hoteliers, they have come up with ways to try to track it as well. I understand that it's very difficult to track, but that is going to be something in the future that the committee has thought that we need to make sure, even though it's not easy to do, that it needs to be done.
Okay.
It's a couple different programs that they can put on
So
their
is that a
ticket sites.
program that the applicants are going to use, or the program?
From what I understand, yes. It
Tellers are
would be
gonna-
the events using these when it's the events using these programs. When, I don't know how you would do it for something that's not with a ticketed item like Outlaw. But there has to be some sort of tracking.
That has really been a struggle and a challenge over
I
the past
understand.
years, and happens to be one of the major things that we use as a benchmark. I hope that we can figure out better ways to do that, and try to work with these hotelers to get them to participate a little bit more.
I agree.
Don't seem to be helping quite as much either by asking people who come in. I mean, we have to become, if they want to have opportunity to control how the money is spent, they need to help us. And somehow we need to make that clear and try to incentivize them some way.
Right.
So going forward, we can get some cooperation so that we can figure this out. We really want to put more people in their hotels. There's no
Absolutely.
question about it.
Absolutely. I can't speak for them, but the two that are involved with the HOT committee, I understand that this has been something that has been talked about extensively. So I know at least these two are willing to participate.
Is there anything in because you guys reviewed the applications, is there any language in the application that says that either the event or the hotels need to set up some sort of a code or something, so when people reserve a room, they know what they're reserving for?
The committee was formed very late. It's not been a committee for very, very long. I don't know that it's
Okay.
necessarily with this particular who applied for this one. That is the plan in the future.
Just a question, okay.
Yes.
I think one issue too that may make it difficult on that aspect is it'd be easier for the hotels that are, because, it's typically like a single person is doing that. I think maybe trying to get, because Airbnbs that are in short-term rentals in Seabrook, also, they have to contribute to the hot funds. So I think, that may take a little bit more of like communications with them or reaching out to them to see what processes they can do as well to be able to have like a better idea. Like I think like if they put promo codes on there, it's easy for the hotels and say, oh, hey, we had 13 rooms, use your promo code. So that, in theory, that's how many rooms they have in there. I think the difficult in getting that data would probably be with if anyone starts staying at Airbnbs, which, I mean, when we travel, we typically always stay at an Airbnb just because, especially if we're going to be somewhere for a few days as well. So that may be something too that we need to, as the board, look into to see a better way of reaching out to all of them as well.
Just a couple more points. We just heard Mr. Robertson talk about not being involved in the Zoom meeting. Is there a reason why he wasn't contacted?
I believe that the Zoom meetings that had applicants involved were with them presenting, and I didn't get a chance to see his application process or it might have been before the board was formed. I'm not super sure, but there's not any problem, I would believe, with inviting everybody to every Zoom meeting. But it was a good note.
How many in-person meetings did you folks have?
We had 2
Okay,
out of 5.
okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else questions about this particular one? Okay, thanks. Next.
Okay. Next, we have the second annual Fall Fest. The amount requested is $38,500, which is $28,500 up from what was approved last year. The committee is recommending the full $38,500, and it's the same Texas tax code. Any questions?
I vaguely remember last year they asked for the same amount, but council gave them less. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
And because it was the first
It
year,
was the first year, yes.
and it was, I assume, successful, and that's why you decided to do that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So this is a 3-day event or a 1-day event or a 2-day event? Like, tell me more about it.
It is a full weekend event. It is a
Full
Friday,
weekend.
Saturday, Sunday, yes.
Okay. I just think that's important to notate because
You're
a lot
correct.
of people thought it was a 1-day event.
And I believe because last year it was a different setup, and they kind of set up a full fall festival being a weekend event rather than spreading it out, which was kind of the issue with the funding last year.
Okay, what kind of documentation are you requesting from the applicants on the expenditure of the money that they get?
I would leave that up to Lexi to answer, but they're supposed to provide all receipts on everything that they use for however they're spending the hot funds. And we've actually changed that a little bit, that they need to come in one full like one full thing instead of bringing it bit by bit by bit.
Okay, so is the money awarded in advance and then they bring in the documentation, or do they bring in the documentation and then they're paid?
It's a split, so they get, at this point, it's 75-25, so they get it upfront, part of it, and then at the end, we would approve the rest of the amount if they met
So
criteria.
they get 75% upon approval? And then the 25%, okay.
Yes, sir.
And what happens if they don't provide you the documentation?
Then they would be held to a different our hope is that we can't just come in and change everything on everybody right away. So we have to set a standard and let everybody know for the next fiscal year.
So we have no clawback?
Right, so at this point, what we would hope for is maybe a fluctuating scale. Let's say if they don't come through, then maybe they go to a 50-50 the next year, and that's all they could apply for.
I have a question. So they get 75% upfront, and then they get the other 25% once they've submitted all of their documentation. So if we give them 75%, and then upon submission of their post-event report, if they don't satisfy the requirements, could we then withhold that 25% as a, hey,
Yes.
you didn't satisfy it? So
Exactly.
we do have some
Right.
teeth to be
Accountability.
able to
Yes.
hold them accountable.
That's exactly correct, yes.
So it's a pretty big jump from what we did last year, and I'm a little unclear what the Fall Fest is. Did y'all get a presentation from the Robinsons?
Yes, we did.
We don't see anything here.
Right.
It's really kind of vague what a Fall Fest means.
It's a concert series event, so it'd be a weekend-long concert series. Angela, you gonna chime in?
Yeah, I was going to ask if they can come up and talk about it. I wanted to ask David Olson. Sure. So,
Are they here?
not to put y'all on the spot, but y'all probably can answer the question better.
Just give us a rundown of what the event is, the schedule, and,
Well, so November 7th through November 9th. And, want to try to get to be one of the premier Gulf Coast, destinations down here. Bring patrons from all over to enjoy the weekend, stay at hotels, participate in heads and beds.
I think maybe specifically the Fall Fest event, what do you do?
Well, we'd be...
Just concerts all weekend long, is that?
Well, it wouldn't be concerts. We'd have all types of different entertainment that we'd have throughout the weekend.
I think that was Tom's question, yeah. Would that satisfy you, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Buddy has a question.
Okay, and of the hot tax money, what would that be going for? What would that be expended for?
I have 1 second.
That's okay, take your time. The boss is coming up now.
I got it. Here we go. All right. Yep. Advertising, mailers, flyers, shirts, signage, digital billboard, vinyls, signs, radio, TV, 93Q, country legends, social media, run ads, boost the posts, website, event-specific page set up and maintain. That's also going to help us track with the metrics on how many people are going to come and participate. And then we'll also set up QR codes so we can hopefully track who stays in Seabrook better. Marketing, and there's quite a few. We've got a very detailed list here that we can share with you guys.
We would like to target further out of Houston if we were given these funds, because that would allow us to post past the Woodlands, out on I-10 on bigger signs that would be able to bring us more people in that would be staying at the hotels. And since it being a multi-day event, they would come for both of the shows. We'd like to make it family-friendly during the day and have, possible, events for the kids in addition to the music on Friday and Saturday. And then, of course, on Sunday, more family-friendly. So everybody is coming and staying.
And this happens to coincide with the same time that Fleet Week is taking place, if I'm not mistaken. Did you? I think you told me you put in a request to be a participant for Fleet Week.
Yes.
So, like a music fest, that would be amazing, in my opinion.
Did that answer your question? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I think last year you talked about the QR codes on the tickets to try to track them. Was the QR scans basically to advertise for some of the hotels? Is that what was on the scan?
It would direct them to that, yes. And we had quite a few that would get directed to them.
Is this something, I guess what I'm asking is did this work? Because last year it sounded like a really great idea. And, I see 15 rooms. It would be great if this is a program that we could work throughout all of our applicants, because you can put QR codes on wristbands, on whatever we want to put it on. And it just seems like if that is part of the programs that we can initiate for some of these other applicants, that may be really helpful.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's just difficult dealing with the different entities because some of the hotels, they have corporate offices they have to report to. Some are, more easy to work with whenever it comes to trying to figure that out. But with the right timing and coordination, it can happen.
All right, thank you.
That's on the right track. Anybody else? Thank you very
And
much.
last year's event was very successful. We, with the limited budget that we did have, I think it drew a great crowd. It was a great time and event. And I think we hit all the marks that we were looking for.
I do have another question. Sorry. How many attendees do you anticipate if you go from 1-day event to 3?
That varies.
that a hard question?
Anywhere from 400 to 800, and hopefully in excess of that per day.
So y'all's original attendance was 400 to 800 people on that 1 day?
Yes.
So you're expecting to triple that?
We would hope to. Yes.
Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you. Kelly,
Okay.
who's next?
Next is Yachty Girl. Funds requested were $10,000, which is no change from last fiscal year. Funds recommended by the committee are $10,000, full funding, and it's the same tax code 35. Any questions?
Just to clarify on that hotel, those weren't actual hotels that they could prove stayed for the event. It was just a difference in occupancy between non-event
Correct.
and event day? Okay,
Correct, yes.
thank you. Good, everybody all right? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your work, committee. We appreciate it. Item 3, consent agenda. We'll be voting on this after. Item 3, consent agenda. Item 3.1, approve the minutes of the July 1st, 2025 City Council meeting.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll give Councilmember Sessom the second. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. At this time, there being no objections, I'd like to move item 9, executive session. To this point, item 9.1, conduct a closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Sections 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, and 551.071, consultation with attorney on matters in which the city attorney has the duty to advise city council and close the executive session. We'll go into executive session at 6:44. Thank you. Everyone back? Okay, we are coming back into open session at 7:41. Yeah, thank you. Back to the agenda. We are now on item 4, boards and commissions, 4.1. Consider and take all appropriate action concerning the appointment and removal of hotel occupancy tax committee members.
Okay, I put this on there for a couple of reasons. One, I have no problem with having a committee. I have no problem with the work that has been presented. I support it. What I do have an issue with is that there's so much confusion. There's allegations that don't understand. There are things that have been said, don't said, and questions about why money was appropriated, et cetera. And what I would suggest is that we suspend or whatever the hot committee until such time as we can come up and give them some very defined and clear direction as to where to go. And in doing so, there may be, some people just don't want to be on that committee. But just to redo the whole thing, because before, when we put it together, I don't think we gave much thought as to the responsibilities, the expectations, et cetera, that we were thinking or we're going to have the committee do. And this is, again, it's not to find fault with what you've done thus far. It's going forward, giving more direction, more definition.
I'd like to thank the Hot Tax Committee. Done a great job. We're happy with the time that you spent and looking forward to some new ideas on how we might be able to calculate heads and beds, which has been an issue for many, many years. I honestly believe with some more thought, we'll be able to figure it out. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to dissolve the Hot Committee.
I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about
Yes,
this.
Angela, you may go.
Okay. So, Buddy, y'all are suggesting to dissolve the committee because there's not clarification on the purpose, but I sat in those meetings when the committee was formed, and the purpose was very well established. I think that the questions that were asked were fair, and it's crazy that one simple question, does Seabrook Festival fall under the guidelines of hotel motel tax, create such a firestorm. And I think I just think that this is personal and inappropriate. And this committee has done a great job. They've spent a lot of time. And by doing this, what you're saying is that you don't value volunteerism in our community. And that's deeply offensive.
We have two people. Go ahead, buddy.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. And as far as the Seabrook celebration goes, I mean, that's another issue entirely, whether you support it or not. In fact, I voted, to suspend it. What I'm saying is going forward and to get the clarification and based on the questions that were, posed by council tonight, plus the comments from Ms. Wilson about the misunderstandings and miscommunications, or whatever you want to call it. I'm just saying, let's clean the slate, start it over again, but let's give some very clear directions of what our expectations are individually and collectively so they can really go forward.
But why would you reinvent the wheel? Why not just modify and make an addendum or add guidance to that? That's why this seems very personal, is you don't dissolve a committee that's already poured time and done all the trainings and met with the proper parties to understand how these things function. You don't dissolve it, you just amend.
Yes, sir.
I think rather than going ahead and dissolving the committee, what would be the idea of having a joint meeting with council, with the hotel advisory board at a council meeting? That way we all can be up here, they can be here as well. That way we can give them the charge, give them direction, get feedback from them all at the same meeting. And then at that point, if we feel like there is no consensus of moving forward, or then at that point we can make the decision then to dissolve it. And then if there is consensus, we would have everybody in the same room rather than trying to go back and forth between like our council meetings, their advisory board meetings everybody be here all together, at one time. And I feel like at that point, we would be able to have a lot better direction and an answer for the future of that board.
Thank you, Tom. Did you have some?
Yeah, this is definitely not personal for me. I want to give some more citizens opportunities to be a part of these boards. I would like to tighten up maybe a little bit the way the applications are done. I think that there are some things that we can improve on for our next session. There isn't a whole lot to be done between now and, say, January. So that's my point of contention.
So you want to give more citizens opportunity, but on EDC, we have members that have been on the board for 12, 14 years. So, and even though recommendations were made by the interviewing panel last year to give opportunity to those new committee members, the council, yourself included, voted to keep 10, 12, 14-year committee members on that committee. This hot tax is a relatively new one, so these are new volunteers within our community. And if you're going to set that precedent, then let's evaluate every single board that exists, including EDC, and say, okay, we have these 14, 12, 10, 8-year committee members. Let's get rid of them and give everybody else a new shot. I mean, a precedent for one is a precedent for all.
I agree that everyone should have an opportunity. And yes, all of them should be looked at, and we probably should evaluate them in the way that those committees are put together. I have no issue with that whatsoever.
And you brought up a very good point. As you said, they're all new, committee members on the hot tax. And I just don't think that council gave very clear directions in terms of what we expect and now and going forward. I don't fault what you did, but, what I'm looking for is so we don't have the confusion and the allegations going back and forth and just do it. And then the reason for suspension or dissolving the committee would be, I don't want anybody thinking that, I'm going to still be going forward until council, tells us what to go and which way to go.
So once again, why not create an amendment? The hot committee has already done their part this year. Why not create an addendum, provide guidance so that they know what to do moving forward instead of reinventing the wheel? Once again, these people have already gone through the trainings and have a grasp and understanding of what the requirements are for hot tax. This is personal.
Mayor.
Thank you. Somebody, do you have something to say?
Mayor, I'd like to call a question.
The question has been called. At this time, we will stop discussion. We'll have a vote on calling the question. The vote is, do we stop discussion and call the question? Do I have a second? Need a second or?
Second.
Councilman Hammond is second. We're all in favor of calling the question. All opposed? Councilmember Cervantes is opposed. Okay, the question is, the motion is, as I understand it from Councilman Tollett, is to dissolve the hot tax committee as it currently stands. Is that correct? And we have a second. All in favor? Opposed?
Disgusting.
Councilmember, had two opposed. That is 2/3 majority in this council. Motion passes. Item 5, bid awards. 5.1, consider and take all appropriate action on the bid award and contract for project 2024-12344, Seabrook EMS Station addition and renovation to JLA Construction Solutions for amount of $2,669,840, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract. Award includes total base bid and add alternates 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. And Gail, you're going to tell us what those are?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this agenda item, our bid process went out. What you've got attached in your packets are all the bidders on the process. We worked with the architect BRW. The evaluation sheet that you have, they did the process checking for us as far as the mathematical errors, reference checking, and we have the highest score for JLA. Staff is in concurrence with JLA being the most responsible bidder based on the evaluation criteria in your second sheet here. And we would also recommend striking alternate 4, 5, and 6 from our original bid based on additional information and additional work already being done on the project at that station. So these would not be recommended. So in your agenda packet briefing, the recommendation is for JLA and for alternates 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. I will note that we are under the bond package for 2023, and this was a $4.5 million bid, and we are, as you can see, projecting to be over the $2.4 million. As part of my packet, I am recommending that for the overage, if council chooses to proceed, that we would take portions of the stabilization fund and add those into our capital funds. $200,000 is a contingency in this and would be used for change orders if needed. So there is a good chance that all of that would not be needed, but that would be the recommendation for the shortfall. And again, recommendation for BRW's evaluation, which is JLA. I'll take any questions.
The items that were struck, those were things that were already completed?
Yes, they, let me blow that up a little bit for you. So when we walked this project, expanding kitchen pantries we had fire personnel and we also had EMS personnel. The original thought was to add additional pantry space. That ultimately, when we got through the bid process, it's come out that the utility of using that space is probably not needed. And so jointly between the fire and the EMS, they've agreed that that can be struck and they wouldn't utilize it based on that amount. The repainting of all the walls, we did have some issues in the station that our public works crew went over there. They ended up going past the repair job and painting most of the common areas, so that is being recommended to strike. And then the drilled piers is not needed, and so we're recommending to strike number 6 as well. I will add also on alternate 8, based on previous conversations, there is and has been HVAC issues at that station. So that is why we put the alternate 8. We've done multiple jobs at the fire station. We have contracted with an individual to go out there now twice when it was cool and again when it was hot. The JLA's bid for alternate number 8 would be for insulating the HVAC systems and replacing the ductwork. Based on the study that we have in front of us, we believe that that will correct some of the condensation issues and we can get remediation done, and this would fix that from being an ongoing issue as well. So the staff is recommending alternate number 8 to stay in the bid.
Does that cover is there a mold issue that needs to be, or is that part of this remediation?
Remediation will be a separate cost that we'll have to cover. So there is a mold issue. So we have on call a remediation company that will go in, do the remediation work, and prep it for a contractor, which would be a separate bid from this. This is a crew going up above the tiles and fixing what's causing the mold issue. So we actually are going to have to
fix
projects.
It first and then.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
I would like to make a motion that we award the contract to JLA Construction in the amount of $2,669,840 for the EMS EOC Annex to include alternates 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8.
Councilmember Sessom makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Sanford seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I have a question, actually. So I just wanted to, the original cost estimate was the original amount that the taxpayers voted on the bond was 2.1 million. Is that correct?
2.4.
2.4 million?
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, so 200,000 of that was contingency funds, right?
No, so their architectural fees are not part of the cost estimate that you're looking at. So we have, part of the agenda briefing shows that we've got $264,000 that were towards the architectural contract that has eaten into the 2.4.
Okay, so the original bond, we're going to have to come up with that money from somewhere else. Is that something that's going to be discussed in the budget session? And I know I had asked for like a gap analysis as to why the funds are so greatly differing, but there's no breakdown in these. So were y'all able to evaluate that or look at why? Was there something added, or what is the reason for the large gap?
So the cost estimate that you're looking at for line items was done by the architect. The bid package that we did was a lump sum project, so we do not have the detail from the contractor that you could do a gap analysis or a comparison line by line. We don't have that detail in our bid package.
So what is the difference that we're looking to make up based from the bond to the amount that we're going to have to pull from the budget somewhere?
So the bond package, again, was 2.4 million, and we have eaten into that with the architectural fees. So right now you have 2.176148 available in your bond proceeds. So the difference would be if we just did the base bid of 2669840, you'd be looking at, and this is again, if all 200,000 of contingency was used, 493,692. Option 2 with all alternates and contingency would be 606,471.
Okay, so we're looking at a potential additional burden of between 500,000 and 600,000 on the taxpayers or the budget.
But that would come out of the stabilization fund,
That's not
correct?
correct.
Right.
So it's not like additional money we have to find in the budget. There's already a line item in the budget to cover those funds, correct?
And it's in your reserves on the balance sheet. So that was the $800,000 when State Highway 146 started and was put away in case the sales tax numbers dipped. Sales tax numbers did not dip. They continued to rise throughout the entire part of the construction process. So we never had, based on the resolution that set up that fund, dip into those funds. In a natural process, we are at closeout of 146, so the process was going to happen naturally of what do we do with the stabilization fund. So it's not a great thing that we're over budget on this, but it's just a recommendation to council that if you wanted to proceed with this, given the high delta, that is an option that we could discuss.
Okay, and just for the record, I'm in support of getting this done. That's not my question. I'm just looking at budget, and the stabilization fund could be used for many things. So it's unfortunate that we're having to dip into it because that's money that could have gone to the pier or something else for that matter. So that's why I'm asking. Thank you.
Anything else? I have a motion on the floor. Did I have a second?
It was me.
We have a second. All in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 5.2, consider and take all appropriate action on the approval of bid project 2025-06-405 Carruthers Grading Drainage Project 2025 in an amount not to exceed $117,431 to Jesse told me how to say this, Itale Construction, and authorize the city manager to execute a contract. Mike, could you explain to us why we're addressing this?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So before you tonight is the two bids that were turned in for the Carruthers Drainage and Grading Project. There has been some unfortunate incidents that have arisen with this process. As y'all are aware, we are required to follow state statute competitive bid process, and unfortunately, one of our board members has violated that. And in my conversations with the construction company, Itale, there were several discrepancies in the bid that were turned in, and when I contacted the individual to find out why those discrepancies were there, he notified me that the scope of work that did not need to be done based on his conversations with one of our board members. So I'll answer any questions you might have.
Could you, do you have the actual tally sheet?
So here is the proposed winning bidder as it stands. As you can see, the third item down, the tree removal, 11 trees to be removed. Again, that was one of the items I contacted the contractor on. It was 11 trees being removed for $1,600. Somehow that totaled $4,800. When I asked why that was, again, it was the conversation with the board member. On-site soil excavation, sorry, there's a sticky note on that scan. The 580 cubic yards of soil that needed to be relocated at $204 somehow mathematically came out to $40,000. When I asked about that dirt, he informed me that it was his understanding that we were not going to need to relocate and do that portion or scope of the project. When I asked where he received this information, he informed me he received it from a prior discussion with one of the board members.
What would the total have been?
208,000 had.
Okay. And then just for comparison, could you show us the other bid, please? Okay. Any questions? We have any questions for Mike first? We have Mr. Guerrero. We've asked to attend the council to answer any questions. Do we have any questions of him? Should I ask him up to the dais? No? Yes? Yes, sir. Angel, would you step up to the microphone, please? And you have to talk right into it. Yeah. Okay, buddy.
Good evening. I'm Angel Guerrero,
Okay.
owner of Atele Construction.
But
All right, Mr. Guerrero, in looking at the bid discrepancies, this is a $90,000. Your extension of the tree removal and the cubic yards is $90,000 shy. And you're saying that you can move the quantities that are on there. And I don't know what your conversation was or with whom, but the quantities for 580 cubic yards and the removal of 11 trees is ground and granite. That's going to happen. And if you extend your numbers out correctly, you're shy $90,000. So can you do it
I could do it for the amount that's right there.
for the 117,000?
Yes, sir. I was at the property yesterday looking at the trees that are not there. They're not there. I see the fence line. They're not there.
Okay.
And then
Did you talk to a city representative about
I
the,
did in 2023.
so you didn't do it for this one?
I bid the job then, and I was a low bidder then.
Okay, because the reason I'm asking this is if you're awarded this contract, you're going to be held to the quantities that are listed there.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay.
anybody else?
Mr. Guerrero, I suspect you've done this all your life.
Yes, sir, I have. Yes, sir.
One of the things that we would hate to happen is for us to get into this project and it all of a sudden changes for you. And it becomes a project that is not going to be good for your future. In other words, I don't want you to go bankrupt because we didn't add it right. I just want to make sure that we feel comfortable and that price is going to work for you.
That price will work.
Summer? No? Angela? Sure. All right, so that was the end of our discussion. I need a motion of some sort.
I move to approve 5.2.
Councilmember Hammond makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Tolet seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Councilmember Sanford opposed. The motion carries. Congratulations, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 6, new business, consider and take, 6.1, consider and take all appropriate action on the 2025 hotel occupancy tax applications and allocations as recommended by the HOD Advisory Board for the fiscal year 2026 funding year starting October 1st, 2025 through September 2026.
I move to approve 6.1.
I have a motion on the table to approve. Councilmember Hammond, I have a second before we have discussion.
Second.
Councilmember Sessom seconds. Okay, how about discussion? Anybody want to say anything?
Okay, so with the Texas Outlaw Challenge, it's a 5-day long event. We're giving them $10,000 and a $20,000 difference. I would like to know if we can reconsider giving them the money if there is a specific event brought to Seabrook similar to what they have in other cities. So, I mean,
I would have no objection, and I feel like Councilwoman Cervantes and I sit on that board. I think the gist and the sum of the conversation was if they are willing to host like a bigger event or some type of an event in Seabrook, then there was no objection to giving them a little bit of extra money than what the recommendation was. I think the main conversation was it seemed like Seabrook was the one giving them the most out of the other cities that provide them funding for their event. And from at the time when we had the meeting, it didn't seem like there were many events that took place in Seabrook. We knew of the Lakewood Yacht Club event, and then I think the only one that we knew of was like a poker run or something that took place kind of at Cabo. And I think like if they're one like maybe host another event of some sort in Seabrook, I would have no objection to giving them extra funding for that.
right. How do we, so how do we ensure that we get an event in Seabrook and then I guess hold that 20,000 until we have a commitment? How does that work?
Well, remember, we just had Paul just went over the program, and there was I don't know that everyone knew that we had the meetings and which I've been to at Villa Capri. There are other things that have been done. I would like to take back and give them back the full amount of the $30,000 they've asked for. I've had conversations. We're hoping in the future there'll be more things that we can do in Seabrook, but we are struggling to get event places to do things on the water. But that doesn't mean that we can't come up with something. So for me...
You want to make an amendment?
I think the issue is that it's a daytime, that the events that are hosted in Seabrook are daytime events. And so daytime events, by definition, don't typically bring heads to beds. And that was the comment that was made by both hoteliers, is that these daytime events.
Well, I know for a fact that there are many of the boats and captains of the boats and owners of the race teams have stayed at our hotels. I have personally seen the trucks and the trailers. I know for a fact they're there. All they got to do is walk outside and look. They're there.
Let me ask a question. Is it possible to go ahead and
You want to pull? You want to pull that out?
no? Is it possible to come back later and amend a hot tax?
Yes. We've had that a couple of times. Whatever you approve tonight, it's Typically for these, you're trying to get it ready to put in your budget that you're going to see at the workshops. So you could raise the events budget as a contingency for additional events for next year above and beyond the recommendation of the committee, if that's what you would want to do.
And I think too, like if they get 75% upon award, and then at the end of their event, they get the additional 25%, like we discussed earlier. And I think if we go ahead and agree to give them more money based on having some, more data of them doing events in Seabrook, then great that they get that extra 25%. And if come this time next year, if there's that they haven't done anything additional, then I feel like at that point the council or the hot board, if reestablished, would be able to withhold those funds. Correct?
Not quite sure if I followed that.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
So
I mean, if your policy is keeping that as a retainer almost,
Right.
then yes, you could withhold those if they don't meet the criteria for giving the grant.
Why don't we give them an opportunity to come forward? Budgets, not right now, but to come forward with a plan for next year saying,
It made complete sense in my head.
yeah, but to come forward and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, and you've got, when's our next budget meeting?
22nd, you'll have another one after that. So you've got 29th as well.
Okay, so you got time to come forward and say what else is going to be in Seabrook. That's just my thought.
Mayor, I do think that staff's recommendation would be to go ahead and, let's go ahead and approve that additional $20,000 in a contingency fund just for budgeting purposes.
Yes.
Then y'all can decide what to do with it later.
Yes, I was going to ask for an amendment because all we're doing right now is there's a motion on the recommendation, and if you want to change the recommendation, we need an amendment.
I'd like to amend my original motion to increase the amount for the Texas Outlaw Challenge by $20,000 on a contingency of additional activity in Seabrook.
Okay, we have a motion and an amendment. Do we have any discussion on the amendment? The amendment is to,
I will second that if you need a second for Buddy's amendment.
yeah, thank you. Councilmember Sanford, second. All in favor? Signify. That was unanimous. Thank you. Okay, that was the amendment, and now we need to vote on we have a motion and a second on 6.1 with the amendment, which would be to approve the hot sponsorship applications as presented with the amendment adding $20,000 to Texas Outlaw Challenge as a contingency. All in favor? Unanimous, thank you. All right, item 6.2, consider and take all appropriate action on a 90-day temporary use extension agreement between the City of Seabrook and Driver and Rescue LLC, Barge 295.
Move to approve 6.2.
Second.
Councilmember Hammond made a motion, Councilmember Tolet seconded. Any discussion? We had a discussion, you and I did with Patrick and Michael about, in addition to the restrooms being moved, if there was a storm, also the tent to be removed. That's not in this resolution, I don't believe.
Why not?
I believe the resolution is just a 90-day extension.
But we did add in this temporary restrooms will be moved pending any tropical disturbance that could result in flooding or surge.
Right.
I think we need to add the verbiage and tent and
I
temporary.
mean, you can add that. The resolution, it really is worded as an extension of the existing resolution as an exhibit.
Okay.
But if we want to add something in there contingent on y'all, we'll make the amendment.
Yeah, okay.
If you want to approve it with that amendment, we'll add it to it.
Any discussion about that? No. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Thank you. Okay, old business, item 7, old business. 7.1, consider and take all appropriate action on, I think we just, we lose this agenda item. It's not relevant.
Well, I mean, if y'all would like to kind of pull it until it is, that's fine.
Just pull it.
You could do it unilaterally as mayor if you'd like.
Yeah, we'll pull item 7 for some future time. Item 8, routine business. 8.1, presentation of the monthly financial report for June 2025. Mike, that's you, sir. You want me to do it?
Sure.
All right. So here we are, our actuals through June. General fund, enterprise fund, these are our 5 major funds. Not getting into the specialty funds, we'll save that joy for next week's budget meeting. Currently, through June, our ad valorem taxes were $100,000 over our budgeted amount through June. Fines and forfeitures also look good, $30,000 over budget, while sales tax, license permits, and intergovernmental are all in a deficit. Our general fund expenditures we've kept in check, largely due to shortfall in staff and gaps in filling those roles. As you can see, we're $700,000 surplus in public safety, 150 in admin. Overall spending is 13.9% down. These are the largest drops seen in November and April. Oh, these are our sales tax trends. Property tax, as you can see, we've collected just over $7 million. It's 8.6% up from last year at this time. Our enterprise fund, due to the rain, we have not had quite the water sales that we've had in the past. As you can see, we're down in water, sewer, and sanitation. Hotel occupancy tax, doing better there, almost $100,000 over our budgeted amount. Our expenses are down by $80,000. Projected fund balance of $643,000. EDC revenues slightly above our budgeted amount of $987,000, projecting a ending fund balance of $4.7 million. Crime control, again, that's running under budget on sales tax revenue. Overall expenditures are under budget. Should end with a healthy $1.7 million in the bank. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Key takeaways. Any questions?
Any questions? Mike, I like this format a lot. Thank you. Good job. Item 8.2, City Manager Update, report City Council on various items that require no action, including Seabrook boards and commissions, transportation projects, and City of Seabrook CIP projects.
Mayor and Council, on your boards and commissions, your open space and trails met since your last meeting on July 10th. We have 3 recommendations that they voted on that you'll be seeing on your next agenda. Topics will include trail connectivity between Lake Mija and the towers for a new trail, expansion of the parking at Robinson Park, and project consideration for the Keep Texas Beautiful grant of $160,000 to consider artwork possibly at the exit ramp of 10th Street at 146 northbound. Building and standards, there are public notices now posted for this Building Standards Committee to meet on July 29th. Our staff continues to work on substandard building structures, so we have identified, and there'll be a hearing for one that's on Waterfront or the Point District, and another individual property that is located on Baywood. Those notices are now public. Planning and zoning will be meeting as well this week, and they'll be looking at, continuing to look at actual verbiage for code amendments on the construction using shipping and storage containers for swimming pools. So they'll be deliberating that, and that, if approved, will be coming over to City Council. Also, they'll be looking at the final plat for the Bayport Logistics Center, or as some will know it, the freezer warehouse. So those two items are on their P&Z. As far as your capital improvement projects, they're continuing to button up the interconnect on Old 146. We're still waiting on the county to give us a road closure. Seascape Waterline project is wrapping up. Our wastewater treatment plant demo over here on Main Street. We had the stakeholder group for the parks meet, and we'll be having a joint meeting coming up, and those stakeholders will come back. EDC and City Council is proposed to do a joint meeting so that the design can be publicly revealed and if any questions at that point. The demo project, because there's consensus that's been reached now, we are working with our engineers. An RFP will be going out to bring down the structures, and now we have somewhat of a grade that's been set. So we'll be working a grade proposal into that RFP that will take a little bit of the burden off of the actual park project. So again, there's a lot of movement happening with those two projects. Pine Gully Force Main is also another RFP that will be going out soon. They're still working on environmental. No additional things to report. We're still working with our consultants on the pool facility. Tonight, you've heard on the EMS expansion and the Carruthers project. And then from our last discussion, as far as streets, as the city in our previous certificates of obligation, we have 10 million that are on hold for street improvements. And staff is looking to do a proposal for the reconstruction of East Meyer. And we're continuing our work with North Meyer and Harris County on that grant program. On economic development news, just a couple of tidbits. I think we were asked last time just to give a little bit of an update on Margarita Jones. Spoke to the owner today. They're a little bit further behind than he had hoped. So he had said mid-July. He's looking at mid-August at this point. So they're doing all of the final prep work inside right now. And he's excited. The sign for the Heart Seabrook is in fabrication and should be delivered soon. So that is coming. And then Tookie's Hamburgers, just as a wrap up on that, we put out a press release, but conclusion of the EDC meeting after an offer was made over to that particular incentive applicant, the applicant has denied and is no longer willing to come back to EDC. So any questions?
Did you mention, was there Harris County still doing their study on the drainage along Lower Toddville?
No. We did get a little bit of information. I don't, at this particular point, have any other details than it's concluded, and we are waiting for them to reach out to the city to set up a meeting so that we have more information.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much. Item 8.3, establish future meeting dates and agenda items.
Mayor and Council, your next meeting is next Tuesday on the 22nd. It's a budget workshop at 6 p.m. There also may be another budget workshop the following Tuesday on the 29th at 6 p.m. if that's needed. And then your next regular meeting is scheduled for August 5th at 6 p.m. However, you'll probably be starting up at 5 p.m. with a budget presentation before your regular meeting. I will follow up with email messages.
Okay, thank you. There being no further business before this council, our meeting is adjourned at 8:25. Thank you.